welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Chris Aniskovich, who is chairman of the town council for the town of Clinton. Sir.
Peter.
Hi, buddy.
How you doing?
Good, pal. How are you?
Doing good.
What's new?
A lot.
Well,
I guess, right?
For the next half hour, we're going to talk about it.
Good.
Where do you want to start?
I guess we can start with, unfortunately, due to the COVID uprising in some of the positive tests, the town's gone back to masks in town hall.
Okay.
So it's one of the negative things that I guess we have to say that is not always a good message to deliver. But
okay.
So town hall and all town buildings and offices are going back to masks. They went back last week.
Okay.
And then we also changed up our in-person meetings, which we just started, which you guys were at,
right,
filming. So now we're all back to Zoom meetings and virtual meetings. So, nah, not really, but
no.
It's hard.
Right.
The Zoom meetings are hard, and
Yeah.
it's we thought we were there, and we'd be able to start doing in person, and it was great. It was great to be in person because it was easier to communicate. It was easier to kind of work together and get some things done. But we deal with what we have to deal with, and we go back to that, and we'll start that this Friday at 7 o'clock is our first town council meeting that we're back to virtual.
Oh, cool. You mean Wednesday?
Huh?
Wednesday?
Yeah.
You said Friday.
I said Friday? Wednesday.
Yes. Wednesday, okay.
That Wednesday. That okay. Friday, Wednesday.
Gotcha.
So it is Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming we're going back to virtual Zoom meetings till further notice.
Till further notice, yeah. We'll keep an eye on everything, and we'll see how the numbers look, and we'll take the lead. Again, all of our decisions that we make in town, again, are made by obviously the town manager,
yep.
but he takes his lead from the health district.
Right, absolutely.
They're going to provide us information that we can work with, and then we'll decide how to go from there. But that's where Carl Kilduff will take his
sure.
His decision making from.
Absolutely. And how is Carl Kilduff?
He's doing well.
Good.
Yep. Right. Everything's good. A lot of activity in town, a lot of things going on. And it's great to see that when you're driving down, you see a lot of activity and a lot of building, and it's good.
All right. Well, what's going on? Well, okay.
Oh,
I'll
gosh.
bite on that. What's going on in town?
Wow. There's a lot. Land use is very, very busy. We have, it's crazy about how many applications they're taking on.
Yeah.
But the old Morgan site's still going strong. Big Y will be up and running by the end of the year.
Okay.
They're looking for a groundbreaking by the end of the year, so that's done.
Sure.
Construction has started on the Starbucks building, which is the one on the right-hand side.
Correct.
When you drive in, they'll have a drive-through in the back.
Okay.
So they've started that process, so that's next up. And then at that point, we're just waiting to see what happens over there. So there's no more confirmed tenants that he has told the town of, but he is working with other tenants that are interested in moving in. Okay. So we'll see what happens, but nothing in stone, nothing in writing as far as that goes. But at least it's great to see the Big Y up and running, and they're doing obviously a great job on that building, and they're moving along real quick.
Absolutely. I was by there with my mom the other day.
Yep. And then the other big project obviously is the Unilever project, which he has the permit and everything else that he needs to move forward with on the apartment building, which is the building on the right.
Yep.
And then the Ponds building is, again, it is what it is right now. He hasn't come forth with any master site plan. We've been told that he may.
Okay.
He has been working with land use, working with Carl, so that he's keeping everybody kind of in the loop on where we're headed with that. But that will be something that'll come to fruition also, just not any firm time frame on that.
Right.
But the apartments will be up and moving. He's waiting to get steel to put the third floor on that building.
Okay.
So hopefully that will be soon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So.
And now, as far as what's the school year going to look like, do you think?
We don't know.
Okay.
So Board of Ed hasn't decided yet what they're going to do.
Okay.
The executive order from the state is that masks in school until September 30th. So if they follow that, which I'm assuming they would, I can't answer for them.
Right.
That's what they'll do until that time comes. School starts in 2 weeks, so we wouldn't anticipate any updates from the state on that. And then we'll just have to follow that executive order through the end of September.
When does school start?
September 1st, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. A couple weeks, they'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
More traffic all over. See, it's either the summer traffic or it's school traffic.
Yeah,
a lot of traffic.
Traffic all over the place.
So, but a lot of other developments. I mean, there's buildings going up all over, as you can see in town.
Right.
Which is good, and a lot of it is apartment related, and that's what we need. There is a shortage on the shoreline of affordable apartments that people can move into. So it's good to see some of that development going in.
Absolutely. What's going on with the train station?
That should be, knock on wood, same time frame. End of the year, they should be the grand opening on that. They're pretty much at the last stages on that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So, slowly but surely, everything is kind of moving forward. We have the fireworks, obviously, on the
Right.
28th of August. Those
Yep.
will be the annual fireworks.
Yeah.
So that'll be an event that takes place that we have things going on behind Town Hall,
Okay.
and then also at the Clinton Town Beach.
Okay, so they are going to have stuff behind the town hall.
Yep. So they've already been permitted and everything's in place for that. They'll have bands. They're going to have the beer garden will be back again, which I'm sure everybody will be excited about.
Absolutely.
So that'll be up and running. That starts at 4 o'clock and that'll go from 4 to 8.
Yeah.
8 o'clock that stuff shuts down, and then the fireworks are at 9:05.
Okay.
So that's it's exciting for the town too that we're able to get that done even in the midst of all this. It was canceled last year, so that that wasn't great. But so this year at least it's back up and running.
And I hear they have a major sponsor this year.
Their major sponsor that I don't want to have to plug, but it is Clinton Insurance Company.
I know. I was going to say, yeah. No, we don't want to because it's.
Yeah, so he's a major sponsor. So Mike Coco and Clinton
Right.
Insurance Company. So
Sure.
yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So how are things going with the planning of the summer fireworks festival?
They did great. I mean, they did. They obviously did big fundraisers throughout the year.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely, they crept up to that. But again, if it's going to be an annual thing, they want to make sure that fundraising goes, on an annual basis, that it's continual throughout the year.
Right.
When it first started in Clinton, it was difficult raising the money that we needed in order to put on this show because it's not, it's not cheap.
No.
And you want to be able to give, everybody kind of something spectacular, and that's really what it was, and
Right.
that's what we continue to do. So the fundraising will continue year-round, and that would be something that, when the fireworks then come around next year, we're in a good place.
Exactly. So what else we got?
Well, you got buildings that are going up in town,
Yes.
the corner by where the old Friendlies was.
Right.
That building has sold, but nobody's come forth to planning and zoning with any applications for what they're going to put there.
Gotcha.
The building across the street was a mixed-use, commercial, retail, residential. I was at the planning and zoning meeting last Monday.
Okay.
Which there was an application submitted on that property to, I guess, include more apartments to that building.
Okay.
Because there seemed to be more of a push for that, and less on the retail commercial side. So that application was accepted at the last planning and zoning meeting. Across the street we have Van Wilgens.
Okay.
Down further on West Main Street we have another development going in, which are apartments. Across a couple more streets, lots down, you have another building going up by MJM Builders, I guess, is going to be doing another building there.
Okay.
That's apartments, so there's a lot of development on the west end.
Oh, wow.
And again, there's a lot of, I guess the good thing is that let people know that, if they want to know, I know social media is a
big thing.
a big
Yeah.
thing on what's happening in town.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if
Right.
you want to know really what's going on in town, is to join a meeting. I mean,
Right.
the Zoom meetings make it easy. They're posted all over the place. Especially since we're going back down to the Zoom, maybe, on the town side, getting that stuff reposted out there so that people understand they can, just sign in, call in, do whatever. And it's very informative.
Right.
These meetings that planning and zoning has in inland wetlands, very informative, because those are the applications that individuals or developers are submitting to our town to do work.
Right.
And that's will give you the true message about really what's going on in town. And by the number that we see, it's getting kind of big.
Absolutely.
And so it's good to see.
I didn't know Van Wilgens was coming into town.
They are.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So they will be there. They're going to have a little greenhouse there that they're doing work on that property now.
Okay.
So and then that area again being developed is something else that was sort of an eyesore for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
But at least we see some stuff moving there and going on there, and it's going to obviously paint a nicer picture over there.
Yep.
So cleaning up Route 1, that
There
would be
you go.
nice. We also have the grant that the town got.
Well, what grant?
So
we got money?
We got money.
All right.
Yeah, we got money. So the
right.
state had a facade grant
Okay.
that Carl had submitted the grant for. Submitted a grant application to the state. We were awarded the money 6 months ago.
Okay.
Finally came through. So that is in the process now of going forward. Contacting with the local property owners and also the business owners to see what sort of involvement they want to do there. Because it's 75%. Whatever the project amount is, 75% would be from the grant, and the owners or the business owners would have
Yep.
to foot the rest of it.
Okay.
So the EDC has been doing an outstanding job.
Okay.
They've been up and running, obviously for a long time, but now they got some new people in there. John Allen, as chairman, is doing an outstanding job, with kind of pushing things forward. Going to get some new signage in town. Some of the older signs that, obviously are in disrepair that we want to fix.
Yep.
The facade project is going to, bring a new look to downtown, more conformity to what's down there. Shore Appliance,
Yep.
that area there.
Sure.
Grand Beats, and, Body Karma. You have the boating company on the end, so that sort of area there.
Okay.
And that's what it'll do. It'll just, the facades of the building, and conformity. It'll give it more of a conforming look down that area of town.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then across the street,
Yep.
we have the old CVS,
Yes.
which was approved for a veterinary hospital. So that was all resolved and taken care of at the last planning and zoning meeting as well.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the veterinarian hospital that is next door to Chips?
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
That's what I thought.
So they'll be moving from current location to doing there. So some boarding, some grooming, but the majority of it would be a vet hospital.
Okay.
So again, another building that's been vacant for a while since the CVS move that we now, and again, it's helpful that we get the new businesses in there. Then the upkeep of the building is a little better.
Absolutely.
And that helps.
Absolutely.
So, it's exciting.
Absolutely. When do you think the vet's going to move? When do you think the vet's going to move in?
I don't know the time frame of it. They just got their final approval on last Monday.
Oh, okay.
So at least that's going to go
Moving
forward,
forward.
and it will happen. And then across the street, a lot of people were excited to know that the coffee break is going to be opening up again.
Yeah, that's right.
So they had closed due to some stuff that was going on with the owners,
Right.
the pandemic, but now they've decided to reopen.
Cool. Chris, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Will do.
We'll be right back.
Myth. If you get COVID-19, you'll recover after a few days. That myth is false. We're only just beginning to understand the effects of COVID-19 on the human body, as we're starting to see more and more people identifying as long haulers who are having symptoms for weeks, if not months, after their initial infection. Continue to wear a mask, socially distance, and wash your hands. Together, we can keep COVID out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Each year, there are more than a dozen significant tropical and winter storms that threaten the East Coast. So chances are there will be more hurricanes and blizzards near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Chris Aniskovich, who is chairman of the Town Council for the Town of Clinton. Chris, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, bud. So, Chris, we were talking in the first segment about what's going on in town. Mm-hmm. What's still going on in town that we want to tell people about?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, they're doing a grand reopening of the Stop and Shop down at that location down there, so that's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is just, I mean, the new development, again, is the old corn crib property up on Route 1.
Sure.
So that has actually been approved. There was a push to keep the building in the front because it was a historic building. So the developer kindly withdrew the application on that to have that demolished, so he's going to keep it at this particular time. But there'll be some development going on there in the back for more apartments as well. So, that's sort of in the process. I don't have any target dates on when that's going to happen, but that will happen. And the other thing is that the town's going through a whole repaving of roads, which is pretty important.
Right.
There was a project that was down by Glenwood, which became a problem because they were laying new pipes with the water company, and so that was sort of a disaster for a long time. A lot of bumpy roads, a lot of unpaved roads. So that area's been done. So that paving job has been done, and we have a laundry list of roads that we actually will be doing, and it's starting now. So that project's in place now.
Absolutely. How are things going down at the town beach?
Town Beach is good. So we have a new vendor down there.
Okay.
That was the concession stand there. The last individual left.
Yep.
So we were able to quickly get somebody in there. She Shed is the name of it. So again, they're down there. They're working and have been open down there. We've had some issues with the swimming at the town beach due to the bacteria levels, which hasn't been great. And of course, you got to deliver the message when it's 130 degrees and they can't swim.
Of course you do.
So
yeah,
a lot of happy people on that.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you give the message, so hopefully people understand it's nothing that the town really can do. The town is, processes in place to do it on our end. We'll do whatever we can do, but it's bacteria level. Health department comes in, they have to test the waters.
Yep.
Should they be high, we're shut down.
Right.
So doing the best we can to get that message out to the people in the town as quickly as possible so that they know. But yeah, that's been an unfortunate part of this summer. But beach is open full, no restrictions as far as people.
Okay.
So at least that's good.
Absolutely, absolutely. As far as other restrictions for the town of Clinton, the only restrictions we have are in public buildings?
Correct. Everything else, we're just, the lead is that, listen, if a store, business, wants you to wear a mask when you go in, regardless of being vaccinated or not, we just ask you that you listen to what they're asking.
Right.
We don't want to have any problems. We're not
No.
looking for any trouble, but,
No.
and we don't want to mandate anything. It's not like, hey, let's mask everybody. If the health district comes in and says, that they recommend something, then we go with that.
Right.
For now, we're just saying, hopefully people will be adult enough to understand, if you're in certain environments, to wear the mask. If you go into a store, you feel uncomfortable not wearing one, wear one.
Absolutely.
If the store says we, required to have it,
Absolutely.
then we just ask that you do.
I
Because
usually-
it takes away from everything else. It becomes a problem, then, next thing you know, enforcement's involved, and, hopefully we'll stay away from that. So far, so good. It hasn't had any problems, but, and hopefully the spread will die down, and, this will help us so we don't have to go to that next level.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
No.
How are things going on the town council? What else are you guys up to?
Going good. So, where do we begin now? So, senior coordinator. So we put together a senior task force. The recommendation to the town council was to hire a senior coordinator.
Sure.
And that individual will report to the town manager.
Right.
And their job would be to kind of find a way where we can get a message out to the elderly in our community, number one. Number two, find places and things for them to do at certain places around town.
Sure.
The library, right at this point, offers plenty. We have the annex, we have other buildings in town that we can kind of go to in order to get these things done. So we just want to, the coordinator would maybe hopefully get us to the point where we know what we need and how many people will utilize, buildings or utilize these things that we want to put forth. Because this takes us to Pearson. So what do we do with Pearson? So that becomes, the next kind of big thing on our plate. So there was an underlying deed restriction that would limit the use of that building to educational purposes or moral fortitude. So we're working through that with the land trust to see if we can handle that and take care of that. And at which point then we'll decide, the council will ultimately decide what happens with the building, but it's going to be a bigger process. I mean, personally, I think we should be doing a lot of legwork and letting people know that if we keep the building and, the ideas that people have put forth on what they would like in the building, what it would cost to get that building to that, to that place.
Right.
A lot of money's involved in that, and where would that money come from? And then if we sell the building, then what, selling the building, what would we be able to do to prevent people from maybe, doing something to the facade? Because it's very important to the town, and I understand in the building itself. So, personally, I'd like to be able to get a message out to everybody. If we keep it, this is what the cost it would be. If we sell it, this is what would happen, and then let the people decide on which way to go with that building. That's going to be a process that's going to take a while to get done. And there's some background, some reports, engineering reports maybe, or reports that we might have to put together and hire some companies to put forth some information so that we can deliver that to the public.
Right.
The other thing is our fire department. So we've sort of outgrown our fire department due to the apparatuses now and such. They came to a town council meeting not this meeting, the meeting before, and presented to us what they need.
All right.
And so that's on our plate as well. So the town will again have to be involved with that. So them moving to another location, then we have that building.
Right.
Is that something we can utilize for something that people may have wanted at Pearson? So that activity is going to be a lot of work. But I think we're in a great place with it.
Right. Absolutely. Now, where do you, if the fire department has to move?
Oh yeah.
Where could they go?
They got to find land.
Okay.
So you're looking at a minimum 3 acres is what they would like.
Okay.
But finding not only a piece of land that would accommodate that, but also has to be in a location that is allowed. Because they would have to be in a location that's readily available to service the people of the town, and then gain access in and out of it. So
then they would have to build.
Correct. And then you got to build a new building. There's some
Gotcha.
grant money. So
Okay.
there's some things that just recently I found out that hasn't been discussed yet that may be very helpful to what we're looking to do.
Oh,
so there may be some stuff out there that we'll bring forth soon.
Oh, excellent.
That may be helpful to the town on that side. Because if they need to do it, they need to do it. That location itself, where it is now, that's actually part of that building is in a floodplain.
Oh, is
due
it?
to new FEMA updates. So, and it's been flooded before, and when we've had events, they've had to leave there in order to to set up someplace else because of that. So, but it's not to say that that building's not usable. So it could be very valuable building to our town.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So.
And what people might or might not know, the backside of the firehouse is the cemetery.
Correct. So, you're limited, and that building has already been added onto. So there's an addition on it. So it's not like we can say, oh, we'll just add on to this building.
No.
So it is a new start. Going to be a big project to take on, but that we need to do it, and we'll make sure that everything works.
Absolutely.
So, and other than that, town council, so the senior coordinator, that position is going to be filled hopefully soon. We have a new blight ordinance that's on our agenda now.
Oh, for what?
Well, because everybody wanted it updated, because if you drive around town, it really wasn't a concrete blight ordinance. So people understood we really didn't have a blight ordinance. So now we're just trying to put something in place so that people understand, here's the process if you have a problem with a neighbor, and then these are the consequences should you not maintain your property in a reasonable manner. Okay. So it's on the paper. I guess the greatest thing that our town is undertaking with the town manager is that nowadays everything's going to be on paper.
There you go.
Unfortunately, in the past, everybody knows, you would change over, you'd have a first selectman, and sure do this, sure do that, and no matter where, where it was, it wasn't on paper.
No.
So then it became difficult for us to kind of enforce these or say, hey, listen, what's good for one has to be good for the other.
Absolutely.
So transparency is out there. This is what we're going to do, and this policy is on paper.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that's one of the big things that bringing in a professional manager of the town requires us to do. And it's great that he's, coming up and helping us do all this as we grow.
It was pretty funny the first time I met him. Remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I stopped by the office to see him, and you and I and Carl were going to sit down and do the show together.
And then that was 18 months ago.
And that was 18 months ago, and the you-know-what hit the fan.
Exactly.
And then it was
that
like,
didn't happen.
All right.
But that's what happened in a lot of stuff.
Right.
So now we're stuck with, kind of what we have. And again, a lot of these projects that we have to push through now are stuff that we, would have been working on for 18 months, but they were hard to do.
Right.
Because it's very difficult. The fire department, when they came to us and they had to present us with what they did, because they did a whole, they did, their due diligence about what needed to happen. We couldn't do that on a Zoom meeting.
No.
It would be crazy.
No.
So luckily, our first back in-person meeting, they came and presented to us on that, so at least that was taken care of.
I was going to say, Zoom meetings are probably very difficult to...
It's hard. Because you have, who's talking, who can hear one, who can't hear another, whose dog's barking in the background, So it's like at the end of the, you think you're getting things done, and you have a conversation that at the end of it says, okay, I think we're going to do this at the next meeting. But then it's like, did we really come to that conclusion?
Yeah, right.
Because it's just, it's hectic. It is.
Right,
And,
absolutely.
So hopefully going forward, we'll have a lot of activity at the Pearson to get that thing moving.
Okay.
Fire department, hopefully that'll, lead it to us to where we need to go on a couple of different avenues. So those are some other things that we'll be working on as a town council.
And obviously with town council, and if people want to get involved in the town form of government, sitting on boards, commissions, you are for that?
So what had happened was one of the first policies that we changed in town
Yes.
Was a policy that you no longer needed to be endorsed by your current party in order to be on a board or commission.
Right.
So what had happened was I brought that forth. That was something I really wanted to do personally. When I ran, I said, we're not making this politics. It doesn't matter what party I'm from. I could care less. We're talking about a municipality. We're talking about Clinton.
Right.
So we're talking about what we want to do for our town.
Exactly.
And we need to get away from what it was before. Politics existed before because the winner would have been either a Democrat or a Republican, and that person would have become, our first selectman.
Right.
We don't have to worry about that anymore.
No.
We have an apolitical individual that will run our town.
Right.
Going forward, whether it be Carl or whomever we hire, down the road. So the political agendas and such, I think they need to be gone.
Absolutely.
We don't need to worry about it. It doesn't benefit our town. We work together as a group. 7 of us, we have to work together as a group and make sure we're making the best decision for the people of Clinton,
Absolutely.
not for our party.
Right.
So the agendas need to, go into the back, and at the forefront is everybody in town. So everybody may not like the decisions that the council makes, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not this year, next year, it's 10, 15, 20 years down the road, where are we going to put Clinton in that position where they're being successful?
Okay.
And that's important. So
Absolutely.
what we had done is make sure that anybody, anytime, could apply for any board or commission they wanted. And
Right.
you could be political, your political affiliation did not matter. So
Right.
you could be unaffiliated, you could be Green, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter.
That's it.
And you put your application forth, and that's that.
And then the town
town
council-
council will decide on what we want to do.
Okay.
So it releases us from making sure that, it's got to be a Republican endorsed candidate or a Democratic endorsed candidate.
Right.
And then now we have a Green Party. So very successful Green Party. We have a Green Party member on the town council.
Yes, you do.
And they'll be putting forth, people on the current slate as well. So
That's right.
we have election in November.
November.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
3 town council members will be up for re-election.
Okay.
So 3 seats will be open. Those 3 winners of those seats would be 4-year terms.
Yeah.
So the council going forward, there'll never be a full turnover of the council. So those 3 will be 4 years, and then our terms will be up again in 2 years.
Cool. Chris Aniskovich, we're out of time. Thanks for some time.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Chris. On behalf of Chris Aniskovich, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.